A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I warmly welcome all of you to StudyIQ. Let's have a positive start. Even death is not to be feared by one who has lived wisely. Now let's define what living wisely is all about. Very simple it is, right? Whatever happens, make sure that you are smiling. You are happy about whatever you are doing. If you are preparing for any exam, right, then you should be happy about it, that this is the work that you are doing. This is something that will give you a sort of, it is part of your identity. It is part of you. So either you can be, sad about it, or you can be too much concerned about what will happen with your future if you don't make this particular exam that you are preparing for, and this will definitely make you very sad, and this is not a wise way of living. Wise way of living is basically being happy about whatever we are doing it as happily as we can. Of course, we can understand that mood is such a thing that goes up and down throughout the day. You have your in the morning you could be in a bad mood, but later on it could be a good mood. So the nature of mood is to go up and down, but we can consciously choose this thing that we will remain happy. We will remain happy in bad mood as well, and this is the best way to live a life. That's what I think. You can throw your own opinion, right? If you have some better examples, then I would love to hear from you as well. Now, dear friends, today I have a very important topic for you guys. It is basically associated with this nuclear India. I have got some very important points for you, so we'll go through it. As you know that this is a very important topic for your mains examination, for your essay writing, for your overall understanding. With this discussion, I will also highlight some very important points that I believe that you should know about nuclear India, or this nuclear weapons and things going on around the world. As at present we know this Iran nuclear deal is going on, or this whole story is going on, this controversy on IND, in this JCPOA basically, or Iran nuclear deal. And we have this Korean peninsula, or North Korea, having nuclear weapons, and the world is trying to get rid of this nuclear weapons, or want to see this Korean peninsula as a denuclearized area. So this is a very important topic in multiple ways. The other thing is, as we are speaking at present, right, we have just completed 20 years of this Pokhran test. A special video lecture was delivered by my colleague Mahipal Singh Rathod as well. I'm sure many of you have watched or have gone through that video, so you'll be knowing about many things about nuclear weapons and things like that. But today I am going to add some more things here. So let's move on, right? Now the basic, or one of the most important thing, the first thing that I would like to discuss here is that when does a nation decides that we want to go ahead or should have this nuclear capability? It basically, you calculate your national security. Where do we stand? What is the scenario of our national security? If we go back in the history of our country, then you will find that we have never ever, right, we have never attacked any country. We have seen that many people from different parts of the world, they have came here in India, and till this European powers came in, right, all this different kings or different people from different tribes, they came here in India. Most of them, right, I'm using the word here, most of them, they came here, they conquered different regions, and then they became part of our country itself. They added new flavor and new way of living, and they brought with them new poetry and other things. So this was basically an addition in our diversity, which we cherish, no doubt. Then we had these Europeans, they came in, they took away money and many things. We know this whole long story of British Raj and other things. So what we find here, the gist here, or in a nutshell, we can say that we have never attacked anyone, but we have been attacked by different people from different parts of the world. So this is in our gene, that we will never attack. This is something that is very important. Now, if we see the scenario after independence, then we know that the partition took place. Pakistan became a new country from India. Then we saw this West Pakistan and then Bangladesh and things like that. Then we also know that we had many wars with Pakistan, and we had a war with China as well, isn't it? So this was a thing that forced us, or this was the main drive behind this whole nuclear story of our country. Because if we go back in history, and if we see this relationship between China and Pakistan, and India and Pakistan, and India and China, then what we find is that China has been, United Nations Security Council's permanent member. China had nuclear weapons as well, and we had a war with China. So this was a big threat for us. On the other side, China supplied nuclear technologies to this country of Pakistan. So we had these two neighbors, one on the western side, one on the eastern side. They were having nuclear weapons with them, and this was a big threat for us. So this was the main driver behind our nuclear capabilities. This was one of the basic thing based on which we decided that we need to have nuclear weapons. The other thing is, and this is a very important point for you to understand, that if we see global regimes, then we find that it has always been discriminatory, right? This may sound very rude as well, or it may sound very unrealistic, but this is right. If you go and see the history of USA, then it has always supported Pakistan till recent past, right? It has always supported Pakistan. But now, after 9/11, they realized that Pakistan is a breeding ground, and then they found Osama bin Laden, and the way things are going on in Afghanistan and other places. The world has realized that India used to tell this Western world that the things that is going on in Kashmir and other parts of our country, these are the things that are promoted by Pakistan and things like that. But they were not able to, or they were not accepting this thing. They used to tell us that this is a law and order situation, it is not terrorism and things like that. But now they do understand this thing. So we were not getting any support from any other regimes, or these global regimes were not supporting us. So this was again a thing that we have to create our own safety net. We have to protect our own national security. No one else is going to do that for us. Then, as I told you, this rogue state of Pakistan has always been run by this army. They call it the establishment. That you have army and ISI. They are the main powerful bodies in Pakistan who have real power. They have this democratic government, but then as well we know it very well that we have seen dictatorship. Hardly any Pakistani government has finished its full 5 years terms and things like that. So when a country like Pakistan is having nuclear weapon, then this is a big red flag for a country like India. The other thing is that if you don't have nuclear weapons, if you are not capable, and this applies to your life as well, if you are not powerful, then you will not get that much respect. If you are a weak country, if you cannot protect your own borders, if you are not powerful enough to look after your own national security, then other countries are going to play around with you, right? But when they know that you too have nuclear weapons, then this will create a deterrence. This will create a wall. This will create a warning for them as well, that you cannot just come here and you cannot attack us. And I have a good example, though this example is in favor of Pakistan, but it is a good example for you to understand that when this Kargil thing took place, Kargil war, after that we conquered this Kargil peak. No doubt it is part of our country. It was part of our country, and it is part of our country. There is no doubt about it. But we know that this was done by Pakistani soldiers. But then as well, we never went ahead with a full war with Pakistan, because Pakistan is also having nuclear weapons. So you see how it worked as a deterrence for Pakistan. So this is one of the main reasons we decided to go ahead with this Pokhran II nuclear test, because we were knowing very well that we have to look after our own back. We were not in any global camp of USA or USSR. Our relationship were very good with USSR, but then we cannot say that we were following all the things that were said by USSR, or we were not a sort of puppet of USSR. We in fact are founding member of non-aligned movement as well. During this Cold War era, we ensured that we are neutral, we are for independence and things like that. The other thing is, this is a big thing or a big problem that we find, or a big question that the world is trying to address, that how we can control this proliferation of nuclear weapon, how we can limit it. International regimes, if you go and if you see the big picture, then we can say that international regimes have failed, literally failed. You see, most powerful countries in the world, United Nations Security Council's permanent members, they have signed a deal with Iran, and what we find at present is that this thing is a bit shaky here. For a very long period of time, North Korea has got these nuclear weapons, but are we able to stop them, or international regimes, have they stopped them? The answer is no, because this thing has not worked. But how we can proliferate, and India is a very good example here, that if you have a functional democracy like India, if you have check and balance system like India, then there can be a control over nuclear weapons. We are not proliferating. We are not a country that is keep on, we are not proliferating or not increasing the arsenal of our nuclear weapons. Yes, we do have it, but we don't need that many weapons as well. We can use it. We have all these capabilities, but it's not our main agenda to increase it every year, because we have this check and balance thing. So a prime minister or president or parliament cannot just go on and produce this many weapons as they like, right? Of course, you have some necessities, but you have Supreme Court, check and balance system is very active. We have functional democracy, and this is the biggest deterrence. You can say not deterrence, but this is the biggest or the most powerful tool. If we want to see the world, or all these countries who are having this nuclear weapons at present, if we want to see this drop down in the numbers of nuclear weapons, then they need to have this functional democracy. And you will find that if you go and see Iran, or if you go and see North Korea, then you cannot say that they are a very functional democracy. They still are under either theocracy or dictatorship, and international regimes, you know it very well. So this is, you may find, you can use this statement, right? How world can become a nuclear free world. So we need to have proper democracy, a functional democracy. This is the answer. Very important point for you. So back in 1974, Indira Gandhi government conducted first peaceful nuclear explosion. It was basically about, this first one was more of a, you can say, I'm just saying, using this word so that you can understand, it was more academic in nature. When I say academic, I mean to say that it was more theoretical, that yes, we can produce scientifically, yes, we can, but this was a very peaceful nuclear explosion. It was not a full-fledged one. But till we reached in 1998, we were able to, acquire this capability. But we never conducted this test. Narasimha Rao government prepared the ground, but they didn't went ahead with the test. And when Atal Bihari Vajpayee came in power, his government came in power, the government of India decided to go ahead with it. And as we are speaking now, it's been 20 years till we conducted this test. As soon as we conducted this test, the whole world was in a shock. Particularly USA was very aggressive on India. It applied many sanctions on us, and we faced, as nowadays we talk about this sanctions on Iran and other countries. So same thing was done on us as well, and other countries were persuaded by USA to corner India so that we can drop down this thing. But we were not attacked by USA because we were having this nuclear weapon. So this is another example of deterrence. Soon after this sanctions, we started a very, you can say, full-fledged negotiation started between India and USA. At that point of time, Jaswant Singh was our foreign minister, and USA came out with many different, list of things, like how we should move ahead and what are the things that we should keep in our mind and things like that. But we were trying our level best to convince USA that this is not just a sort of it's not that we are flexing our muscles. This is more about necessity of our country. We told them about this Pakistan and China, the things that we have already discussed, were discussed between both these countries, and negotiations, as I told you, there were full-fledged negotiations, and they came out with many things. USA basically provided us with a list, and if we would have followed that list, then we would be basically giving away all our nuclear weapons, but very tactfully, we applied sophisticated diplomacy. We came out with our own points. We said that we will make sure that we will never threaten any other country, may it be our arch rival Pakistan. We will never threaten any other country with our nuclear weapons. We also said that we will never be the first one to use it. If someone else is using nuclear weapons on us, then we will use it for sure, but we will never be the country to be the first to use this nuclear weapons. Then later on, there was a change of guard in both USA, and when I say change of guard, I mean to say new government came in USA. We had this Bush government at that point of time, and then we got Manmohan Singh government in our country, and then negotiations continued, and finally we reached this peak called Indo-US nuclear deal. USA accepted our logic or our necessity, and USA sanctions and everything was lifted, and finally this USA promoted us as a quasi member of nuclear club. Later on, we went ahead with deals with USA, and we have this 4 technology controlled regimes in the world. We are member of 3 regimes. We are not member of nuclear suppliers group yet because of China. We are acquiring uranium for peaceful purposes, and we have enough weapons and things like that as well. We have signed a deal with Japan as well, and this indicates we have not signed a non-proliferation treaty. Then as well, we have signed a deal with Japan. Japanese parliament has accepted our stand, and this was very important because all this company like Westinghouse, they are subsidiary of Toshiba. Toshiba is a Japanese company. So if we want to go ahead with the nuclear deal with we are talking about energy deal, right? Civil nuclear energy deal with USA, then it is very important that we have nuclear deal with Japan. Without that, we cannot go ahead. And when Japan, the only country in the world that has faced nuclear weapons, if that country is signing a deal with India, then this indicates that our policy is very, you can say, very legitimate, as well as the way things are done by India are not rogue. Of course, they are kept under this check and balance thing. We are very responsible nuclear country. So it was a very wise decision. I hope this whole story is clear to you. Now, dear friends, before moving ahead, I would like to share this good news with all of you, that if you are planning to get one of our pen drive and tablet courses, then you are getting 50% off till 28th of May. Make sure you make the most out of it. This is going to be a very good investment for you guys, for yourself. So go ahead with it. They are designed by the best faculties of our country, and if you want to download PDF of today's discussion, you will get it from my Facebook page and Twitter handle. Please don't forget to hit that like button if you have learned something from today's discussion, right? I am not forcing you, but I will of course request you guys that if you learn something new, then to motivate me to bring more of this stuff, please hit that like button, and do share this lecture with other people. This is a small gift that you can give to other people. Now, let's go through this news items that we have. Yesterday we were talking about India and Nepal, and now basically you know that we are trying to catch up here. We are a bit behind our schedule, but anyways, things I believe are going on in right direction, and thank you very much for your patience as well. And this indicates that even things are coming from, you know, things are a bit anyways. So let's move on. We have yesterday we were talking about India and Nepal, so we know this trip is over, so let's go through main important points here. Prime Minister Modi has said this thing in Nepal when he was there. He said that as far as this neighborhood first policy is concerned, Nepal is India's top priority. He also said that whenever there are any problems between both the countries have stood for each other. We have announced 100 crore rupees package for Janakpur, which is a sacred city for Hindus. Yesterday we were talking about many P2P, that is people to people contact, defense and other things, roti beti and other things we have already talked about. So here we are trying to develop this Ramayana circuit. We will develop Buddhism and Jain religion circuits as well in future. And this is not just about religious tourism, right? It is not just limited to that thing. It is more about, or you can say that it is also about creating or generating employment for the youths of both the country, which is very necessary. We are also going to build a railway link connecting Raxaul in Bihar and Kathmandu, which will promote people-to-people contact and movement of goods. Income Tax Department has filed 4 charge sheets against family members of P. Chidambaram, and see, this case is sub judice, so let's wait for the verdict. I'm just using this news item as an example. If finance minister, former finance minister of our country or former home minister of our country, if they are facing this sort of charges of not disclosing or not declaring their foreign assets and things like that, then this is a very sad thing. This is a very sad thing. I hope things are clear with our former finance minister. I am not associated with him or his party, but I'm saying it as an Indian. We don't want to see this situation where top leaders of our country are associated with this thing. This will ruin this trust that we have on government. So again, it is a sub judice case, so let's wait and watch, but it is a shocking thing, no doubt. Moving on to another item, Home Minister Rajnath Singh has said that Naxal violence and this left-wing extremism is one of the biggest threat that we are facing. Of course, more people are being killed by Naxalites than terrorists. So it is a big security challenge, for internal security challenge for our country. First thing. The second thing is that they are anti-poor as well. They say that they are working for poor, or they are working for fight, or their fight is about development and poor people's rights and things like that. But basically, if you go and see this core red corridor areas, then you will find that, means of course I'm not saying that you practically go there and see, but you will find this thing in many reports and in many channels and many other places, that you don't find electricity. People are dying because of malaria and other diseases, right? Curable diseases. People are dying and suffering from it because government cannot go and provide all these facilities, all this medicine and other things. Development has not taken place here, and one of the main reason is this Naxalites, this red corridor. Moving on, a good news. It is good as well as bad. The good news is that from now on, if we have any, God forbid, we don't want to see this thing, but if we have any victim of gang rape or this acid attack or sexual assault in our country, then the minimum compensation they will get will be 5 lakh rupees and maximum will be 10 lakh. Supreme Court has also said, Supreme Court has given a green signal to this thing, and Supreme Court has also said that if a particular state government want to give more, then there is no cap on it. It can give as much money as it like, but minimum should be 5 lakh rupees. A credit rating agency called Fitch, right? Yesterday we were talking about IMF, we talked about this demonetization and GST. Something similar has been said by this Fitch as well. Fitch came out with this sovereign credit overview for Asia Pacific, and it is saying the same thing, that our growth story will, or our rate will be 7.3 to 7.5. So basically you can say 7 plus will be our growth rate for next financial year, which is a good thing. It has said this thing, that in its report, that things will improve gradually, not radically, not in one shot, but step by step things will improve. This business environment will improve in our country. India and Myanmar, our Minister of External Affairs, Sushma Swaraj, was there. So both nations have agreed, and India is happy about this thing, that Rakhine Advisory Commission's recommendation has been accepted by Myanmar and it will be implemented. This is something good. Now let me show you this area. This is Rakhine state of Myanmar. You can see here this is Bangladesh, and here is the border between Myanmar and Bangladesh, and you have a river here, very important river. The name of river is Naf, because this river was in news last year, and you may find an MCQ on this thing, that where you find this river, which two countries, between which two countries you find this river Naf, because people from this Rakhine state, Rohingyas, they used to cross this river, and many people have died whilst crossing this river as well. So this was the main reason why it was in news. Now if we see the situation of Rohingya people, then we know that back in 2017 they faced a big, they were migrating, they were coming out from this Rakhine state, and they are somewhere around 6,25,000 people, or this Rohingya people are living in Bangladesh. It's a big stress for Bangladesh. It is already a world's most densely populated country. But anyways, Bangladesh is providing support to these people. India is also providing support to Bangladesh so that they can support Rohingya Muslims. And this is a very sad thing, that people in different parts of the world are persecuted, or they are being harassed because of their religious background. The other thing is United Nations Security Council has forced, or you can say has asked Myanmar to take necessary steps to sort out this situation of Rohingyas, and has also told that all those people, all these perpetrators should be held accountable. With this, dear friends, I have one more news item pertaining to a particular community called Hazara community. Now, where do you find Hazara people? You find them in Balochistan province. The capital is Quetta of this Balochistan province, and nearby this area you find this Hazara community. They are also facing something similar in Pakistan. In last 6 years, many people of this Hazara community have been killed in Pakistan, and Supreme Court of Pakistan is not at all happy about this sort of things. Cases are going on. The reason why I have added this news item is because many times you may find this type of questions, MCQ A and B, where you'll be given name of community like Hazara, and then you have to identify the country they are associated with. So remember, Rohingyas are from Rakhine, Myanmar, and Hazara are from Balochistan, that is in Pakistan at present. With this, President has termed nurses of our country as nation builders. Of course, they are nation builders. They are very important part of medical sector, and they are working in one of most remote area of our remote villages of our country, and they are fighting serious illnesses. They are helping people to get their health back, which is a very good thing. So President has urged nurses that apart from curative health, they should also focus on preventive health. Last item in today's discussion, it is about Mumbai attack. Former Pakistani president has admitted that militants are thriving in the country, and he has said that this foreign policy of Pakistan, earlier governments, that they have used these terrorists as a foreign policy, and this is a very sad thing, he has said. And he also said that the cases are going on for 10 years, right? But still, it is in a very preliminary state because of this different stakeholders in Pakistan. They don't want to see this case coming to a logical conclusion. Or so this is a very important statement for our country. It is accepted by former Pakistani president, beg your pardon, Prime Minister. So it's a good news for our country that at least someone has, and when it is accepted by former Pakistani Prime Minister, so this is a big news. With this, dear friends, I end this discussion here. Don't forget to check out our StudyIQ.com website for this offer that is going on. Do share this lecture with other people. Hit that subscribe button and share this lecture with other people, and hit the like button as well. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy your day. I'll see you all soon, that is tomorrow. Jai Hind.